Chapter 37. Trap's Closest Living Relatives. The game didn't go too well. I'm back to Trap and Gloria now, not Trap and Annabelle. Trap and Annabelle won the first time they played together, but on this particular Monday, Trap and Gloria just barely broke 50%. I shouldn't have played so soon after the tournament, Trap said to her after we finished. I'm still worn out. Gloria said it had nothing to do with how he had played. It was just one of those days where the opponents made all the right decisions, and there was nothing we could do about it. Maybe. It was hard for me to tell if what Gloria said was true, or if she was just being nice. Still, Trap canceled the rest of his games for the next week and a half. He wanted to rest up for the regional tournament. I'd be taking him and Gloria there a week from Wednesday. They would play in something called a knockout, which would be an even greater test of his ability and his endurance. It would be a 2-day, 4-session event, and they'd be competing against only the top players of the tournaments. A knockout is a team event, with 4 people on each team. I didn't quite understand how that would work. 2 old friends would be flying in from Connecticut to join them. I also found out that the regional would be held in a fancy hotel, where we would spend the night, and I'd get to order room service. Tony called me that night. "Since Trap won't be playing Thursday, do you want to play with me?" "You mean bridge?" I asked. "No, hopscotch." I knew what she meant, of course. I was just stalling as I tried to figure out how playing bridge with Tony would fit in with me and Cliff and Tony, not to mention Cliff and Katie. "At the studio?" I asked. "That's the place," she said. "Those people there are experts," I pointed out. "I barely know how to bid." She said she'd email me some simple bidding rules. Come on, what's the worst that could happen? I agreed to play. I suppose I knew I would the second she asked me. Still, I wondered if I should call Cliff first and get his okay. Tony's so-called simple bidding rules arrived on my computer the next day. There were 11 pages, single-spaced. Leslie helped me study. We dealt out bridge hands and then figured out how each person would bid, pretending we didn't know which cards were in each of the other hands. We would then play the hands too, to see if we could make our contract. In my daydreams, I dazzled Tony with my superb bidding and brilliant card play, but my daydreams never went any further than that. I couldn't let them. I was still pretending to myself I was only interested in bridge, not Tony. I never called Cliff. I told myself it wasn't necessary, because Tony had probably told him she'd be playing bridge with me. And if she hadn't told him, why should I? There was something else, too, that kept me from letting my daydreams go too far. It was something that I'd been wondering about for a while, and maybe you have been too. Were Tony and I cousins? In other words, was Trap her grandfather? Or, to be more blunt, when Trap was a young man, did he have sex with Annabelle King, the senator's wife, his own wife's sister? It would explain a lot, like why Trap's marriage didn't last, and why he was so close to Sophie Castaneda. She was his daughter. It also might have something to do with Annabelle going insane, and so much from my family's being the closest living relatives.